Hello everybody, it is Ebontis, and we are here to talk about preparing for the final shape. Now, we are a little over 6 weeks as of recording this, but even if you find this video 3 weeks later, just about everything in here is going to still be beneficial to you. There are a couple little things that you'll miss out on, but it is not the end of the world, and you will get nearly all the benefit. This is just for, like, the most optimized, that if you want to go that way. So, what do we got? First, why would you prepare for the season and what would you really need to do? Outside of doing quests and other stuff and that kind of thing, this is mostly about preparing bounties. Now, some people are like, I'm not bounty prepping. Well, I will tell you, this is one of the last times you may bounty prep for a very long time. Because if we get to just another episode or something along those lines, I don't know if they're going to be doing this again. We will see. But the main reasons you're going to be bounty prepping are to get a jump start on your season pass. And the main reason you'll want to jumpstart, besides, you'll unlock some currencies and stuff like that, you're going to get an exotic, but then you're going to have the exotic catalyst that you're going to want to unlock. Maybe it's really cool. And if you can get up to this level where you get quadruple the progress, you got to go run 50 strikes. Well, 50 is still a hell of a lot better than 200. And you can just, every single strike or activity that you do is still going to be more progression every time you do it, because you've already jumped up to the quadruple progression. If you just start slow and you like, oh, I'm going to go run a random crucible match, well, all the way through these levels, you're only getting like 1. And this will count for 4. So it's a fast way to get your exotic catalyst progression. The other one is for the artifact. The fun stuff's usually out here on the far end. If you can get a whole lot of experience saved up and make a jump through unlocking a lot of artifact perks, especially before the raid, this is even more important. If you're going to be doing that day 1 raid, if you're going to do the campaign early, we know the campaign and the raid link together. There's a whole early busy week going on. The more progress you have in unlocking all of these perks early will get you to what is typically the game changer, the fun stuff that's going to allow you to do some cool different builds and things. So that is the main reason why you want to do this stuff. And also, if you start 6 weeks out, it's not going to feel like cramming for a final exam. It's going to be a little bit of homework here, a little bit of homework there. It's just little bitty stuff. Now, 6 weeks out has one major specific thing. When you look at all the map, any of the stuff in the tower you can do in the final couple of days if you want to. Most of the stuff on the map is not time limited, because even if they're weekly, you can get them in the first week and have them basically done. The moon, you've got Neptune will have some. You will have some weekly stuff in a couple of places. But on the Dreaming City, you have a 6-week rotation of bounties that are weekly that you can start doing now on each of your characters. And then Europa, you're going to have 3 rotations to go through. So let me show you Dreaming City first. So, just trying to make sure she wasn't talking during the whole video. Petra will have a total of 6 Ascendant challenges that she will go through. These are over here on the left. This one, the Gateway Between Worlds, you want to do this one time over the course of the next 6 weeks on each character. Run the blind well on, the top difficulty twice, and you're done. Save the bounty. This one, you only got to do it once over the course of 6 weeks. But the Ascendant Challenge rotates over the course of 6 weeks. You will see a different one, and you can save up all 6 of those. Now, the main reason that's important, you'll notice these are weekly bounties. The XP is plus. If you come over here, you will see XP plus. These are daily bounties. This is worth 12,000 experience. This is worth 6,000 experience. So when I say if you get to this video 3 weeks later and you've missed a few of these Ascendant challenges, it is not the end of the world if you go, oh no, I gotta go get a few more daily bounties to fill up all my bounties that I can hold, because it's really not going to be that big of a deal. But if you're just going for efficiency, the Ascendant challenges are going to just give you that little extra boost, because if you do all 6 of these, versus waiting until, say, the last week, you're going to be looking at 30,000 more experience just between having these bounties as weeklies as opposed to dailies taking up the same spot. So, Ascendant Challenge starting on April 23rd, and then every single week after that, come back and stock up an Ascendant Challenge on each one of your characters, and that is going to be probably the only thing you need to do for about 3 weeks. Now, let's go over to Europa and talk about what happens at the 3-week mark. So when you're 3 weeks out, you're going to want to start working on your Varix bounty rotation. So same thing here. You're going to have one of these that is going to be a weekly bounty that is something you can only store up one time. Courageous Expedition. Lost Sectors, Public Events. Do this once on each character. You're good. That's your weekly from him that you can do. But this one will rotate between each of the 3 Empire hunts. So right now, I'm recording this on a Sunday. It's the Heat of Battle for the Warrior. Next week, it'll probably go to one of these two, and the week after that, it'll go to this one, and then the week after that, it'll rotate. So if you want to start doing some of this stuff earlier, while you're doing your Ascendant challenges, come over and do your quest for, say, the Warrior. Now, one thing to know about this quest that's actually really nice, you'll notice it says you need precision final blows. What you can do is if you're working on the Warrior, pick up the Warrior quest. Then all you need to do is defeat combatants with precision final blows. And the nice thing is you can do this while this Empire hunt is active. But then once you go actually finish the Empire hunt and defeat it and get your precision kills, you don't need to go through the entire quest line for the Warrior, because there's like a couple steps to it where you're going to go to one section, kill some enemies, another one, let a ship go free. Like, you don't have to do all of that. Literally just have this active, get precision kills, and then go do the Warrior hunt. And it's easiest to try and do that hunt while, of course, it's active, because you can just go over here and knock this out. And you do it on hero difficulty. It's match made. It's not too difficult. Pretty much just go knock that out and you're good to go. So get this active. See what precision kills you get. So make sure you pick up this and this together. So the one that matches by name. So Warrior and Warrior. Go do the mission. See what precision kills you need to get. If you don't have enough, then go run around, Europa, get some precision kills. Once that is done, again, just save it up like a completed bounty like we do. Don't turn it in. And then you can actually just go and abandon the quest for the Warrior. And that way you'll have more space for other bounties. But picking up this allows you to get the progress on the precision kills, because without it, I don't know if that will actually count. So keep that in mind, and that'll help you with that one. This is a 3-week rotation. So if you see this video 3 weeks from launch, you can still do all 3 of these, and you can do half of the ones from the Dreaming City. So again, you would still get most of what's going on. So when it comes to time-limited rotations, those are the main ones. Dreaming City, 6 weeks out, starting on April 23rd. If you miss a couple, not a big deal. You can still get most of the ones that you catch up to. Europa, 3 weeks out. Even if you catch it at like 2 weeks from launch, you can still do 2 of the 3, 2 of the 6 here, and then just fill the spots with daily bounties, because there's a bunch of those. So the other weekly bounties that you're going to want to consider are first going to be on the moon, and you've got 4 here. So each character can hold one of these, where you go do Altars of Sorrow. Easiest way to do that is if you are, want to AFK it. If you're in the Sorrow's Harbor area and you have that bounty, you actually will get progress even if you're just like in the area. So that one's always a nice one to knock out kind of AFK. But if you want to help shoot things, it's probably a good idea. And go do the 3 lost sectors. Just knock those out and you're done with those. And then over here at the lectern, same thing. You've got 2 weeklies per character. Defeat nightmares and nightmare hunts, and defeat nightmares in lost sectors, and usually just check the subtext. Nightmares defeated on the moon only grant reduced progress. So usually the one that I will go to is on the EDZ. If you go to Widow's Walk, it's usually the one with the nightmares that also consider the Shanks and the boss, And if you do that a few times, you can knock that one out pretty quickly, because that'll be a lost sector as well. So the moon, you'll have 4 weekly bounties per character to catch up on. Now in Xur's hideout, he himself doesn't have anything in the weekly category, but if you need some daily bounty fillers, he can actually get you a few of those. But over here at Star Horse, you can actually get 1 weekly saved up. So what you're able to do is pick up one of these, and they're all XP++. You'll notice not one of these is going to be like XP+++ like any of the seasonal challenges. So you don't have to go crazy. So I wouldn't do one of the daily Star Horse bounties, but if you get up to the weekly category, you don't have to do this one that requires 300,000 points. Just do one of the 180,000 point ones. And if you knock that out, XP++, you'll have one of these waiting for you as well. So 1 weekly Star Horse bounty per character. That's another one to add to the list. Surprisingly enough, Shah Han has 2. So you're going to do public events. And if you do a heroic one, you'll only have to do 2 public events. And then kill enemies with Arc, Solar, and Void. These are as easy as it gets, so he's got these 2 that you can do per character. And the final weekly bounty that you're going to have is Nimbus. Now, he's going to have this one here for Vex Incursion Countermeasures, doing the shellcode fragments and polymorphic engine. Get all of that up, saved, and you'll have another XP++ bounty. And this is a good place to show. Weekly bounties, 12,000 XP, XP++. Daily bounties, XP+, these are worth 6,000 XP. And the thing you do not want to save up because they're a waste of space, that is your repeatable bounties. Anything just says XP should not be saved for bounty prepping. Turn all of these in, make sure they are not there. Same thing with A-1. Anything that's going to be getting you the transmog credits, make sure those are not in there as well. So it's your weeklies as many as possible and dailies as many as possible. But we got to go to the tower and talk about some dailies. Before we get to dailies, I want to mention one other thing. Now, if you are in a clan, you've got a few other options. You have 4 more weekly bounties that are XP++. Defeat other guardians in Gambit with clanmates, crucible matches with clanmates, a raid with clanmates, and then complete nightfall activities with clanmates. So if you are in an active clan, these are a good way to get you a little more XP bonus. And the other piece is clans are going to be getting a bonus for drops. They talked about it in the recent This Week in Destiny. So if you're not in a clan, you might start looking out over the next 6 weeks to try and find one that's a bit more active, because there's going to be some benefits to being in a clan that are at least a little more tangible than they have been for a while. But for weeklies, that pretty much covers it. Now, dailies, your goal is to fill this up. So what you want to make sure, one, is that all of your quests are empty here as much as possible. Like Corsair down, I don't need that one for the Dreaming City. If I'm working on my Oversoul, this one I would leave, for example, if I haven't finished this one. But if I just have, say, this legacy thing here, right towards the end of the season, clear this out of here. I'm not going to be getting drops for these anymore. Legacy stuff cleared out. I'm going to turn in all my Riven's Wishes once I'm done running Last Wish Raid and all that fun stuff. So that will clear out most of this stuff. Like, go do the Osiris, go get the Veil history. You want as few things here as possible so you can have as many bounties as possible. So you'll notice you are 26 of 63. That's what I'm showing right now. And if I get rid of most of these, obviously it's going to be a pretty low number. On your primary character that you're going to log in for everything, make sure you have a little bit of space. You don't want to be 63 of 63 when you log in. Typically, when we log in, we have some type of initial quest that you're going to get to go on. Something with Final Shape is probably going to kick off straight away. But you usually need to have a little bit of space for some type of quest objective that's going to start right away. So on your main character that you're going to log in first, I would advise to do like 60 of 63. And then maybe on your other 2 characters, you might do 61 of 63 once you kind of know what's going on between the first characters run through and how many things you need to pick up. I just would not cap out everything with daily bounties. You want to make sure you have a little bit of space for whatever's due. But remember, you're trying to fill this up as much as possible. Make sure your quests are as empty as possible. That is kind of an important piece to that as well. But for daily bounties, the first outside, you can get daily bounties from anywhere. Make sure they are daily. Make sure they're XP+. But the ones that you want to prioritize to make sure you have space for, because you're going to need to do 21 total for these, 7 from the Drifter, 7 from Shax, and 7 from Zavala. What that's going to do is that will allow you to get almost done with this weekly challenge. So you'll have 7 of 8. But what you will need to do is pick up one new, Zavala bounty. And then when you do that one, it's going to trigger this one for Pinnacle Gear when you're ready to pick it up. If you get all 8 of 8 and you turn in 8 bounties from like right now, and you turn in those 8 bounties in the final shape, it typically seems to mess with the pinnacle drop being the proper power level, and you could waste the pinnacle drop, which we all know those are very important when you're trying to get your pinnacles up and maxed. So, my advice, 7 of 8 for Zavala, for Shax, and Drifter. That's going to be 21 daily bounties. Now, the other daily bounties you do are completely up to you. There's a ton of them out there, and if you're doing those Dreaming City quests, there's a few that you could pick up. If you're doing some Cosmodrome weekly bounties, those are easy to pick up. If you're doing Europa weekly bounties, those are easy to pick up. And you're doing Moon weekly bounties, those have some dailies you could do as well. While you're doing anything that has a weekly bounty, pick up the daily. Then if you get to a point where you have too many, like you've done way too many things here, then you might have to turn in a few if you want to make sure you have space for the tower. And then if for some reason you need extras, go to Nessus and talk to Failsafe, go to EDZ and talk to Devrim K, talk to Finch over here on Savathun. Like, daily bounties can truly come from anywhere. Now, when you go to Into the Light, there are weekly bounties here. When you go to the Hall of Champions, you talk to Shax and Arcite. My advice, though, being as the Hall of Champions, we know it's going to change, move, come back a little later. The focusing will be done a different way. I wouldn't save anything that's in flux. Like the Helm, anything seasonal, I would keep nothing related, bounty related to seasons. And also Into the Light we know is going to be changing, so I wouldn't keep anything related to that. Keep things that are going to be a bit more permanent. And then after we get done with the, launch of Final Shape, we'll know a bit more. But this is going to be possibly gone, and this is going to be completely reset. So my advice on those bounties, just in case they delete them for some reason, don't keep those. So to sum up one more time, 6 weeks in the Dreaming City plus the Blind Well, 3 weeks of rotation on Europa for the Empire hunts, and then the 1 planet bounty. You've got your Star Horse bounty, you've got your Nimbus bounty, you've got 2 on the Cosmodrome, and you've got 4 on the Moon. And then you've got your 7, 7, and 7 for your 3 main vendors in the tower. And then fill the rest with your dailies, and make sure you have space to pick up the quests when you log in on Final Shape. So 60, 61 max maybe if you're really going to risk it, but 60 on the bounties and total quest tier. And you're going to be jumping into the season probably right around level 20, 21 is usually right where I end up. So when I log in, I'll do some stuff on the main character. Then once I know I'm kind of far enough in, usually like what you'll do if you're going to try and be efficient as well, if you have a friend who can be of like Fire Team XP, maybe you play enough you get up to here. But really what you're going to want to do is just like as soon as you can get to a point where you can turn those in pretty comfortably and you know how it's going to go between the characters, you'll probably end up somewhere in the early 20s. And then you'll have that much of a jump along with the artifact for the season to kind of get things going for the Final Shape. So that covers just about everything for this. You can do none of this, you can do all of it. If you're doing the day 1 rating, I would advise doing most of this if you have the time. But the other thing is if you want that jump into Final Shape and you don't want to feel like you burn out in the final week, now is a really good time to start because you can spread it over the course of 6 weeks. Spend one night, grinding out 1 character. Spend one night, grind out, and it doesn't take that long to go do an Ascendant challenge and maybe a daily bounty of killing stuff. And then maybe on another day, you'll do an Ascendant challenge on another character. Like if you do like 1 Ascendant challenge on a character in one night, that'll take you like 15 minutes. Done. Another night, pick another character, do an Ascendant challenge or your Europa thing. Just remember the Ascendants are first priority. So that covers everything. If you enjoyed the video, drop a like below, leave a comment if you got questions. And if you enjoy the content, hit that subscribe button, hit the alert bell. You guys know as we get closer to launch, I'll be covering obviously plenty of Destiny stuff, but we have plenty of stuff to play in the meantime as well. So lots of content coming your way. Hope to see you soon.